Sheol, Hades, Hinnon, and Geenna. Those are the words we'll be focusing on in today's lesson. Now, I did formally want to call this lesson as What Happens After We Die. But once I started digging into it, I felt like if these terms are not cleared and the confusions not erased, then forever we'll be having several more questions after I finish this. So of course this tells you there is a part 2 to today's lesson. But let's first get into this and let's see what these words mean. So we'll dive into the word called Hinnon, Hinnon. It's found 11 times in the Bible and it is a Hebrew word. All right. Now, first appears in the book of Joshua. Now, what is Hinnon? It's a name of a steep, rocky valley located in southwest of Jerusalem. So it's a place. It's a name of a place. And so that's how it's first seen in the Bible. But then let's look into two passages. One is 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 10. 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 10. It says he desecrated Tophet, which was in the valley of Ben Hinnon. So no one could use it to sacrifice their son or daughter in the fire to Molech. All right, there we find the word Hinnon over here. And it says, King Josiah, he desecrated Tophet, which was, Tophet again, what is it? It was an area. It was a certain area in the valley of Hinnon. So you understand what's happening over here. So Tophet is equally as bad as Hinnon. And so this is a place where they were, sacrificing their children. And Josiah goes and desecrates the place. Look at Jeremiah chapter 7. Jeremiah chapter 7. In Jeremiah chapter 7, we shall look into verses 31 and 32. Jeremiah chapter 7, verses 31 and 32. It says, they have built the high places of Tophet in the valley of Ben Hinnom to burn their sons and daughters in the fire, something I did not command, nor did it enter my mind. 32. So beware, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when people will no longer call it Tophet or the valley of Ben Hinnom, but the valley of slaughter. For they will bury the dead in Tophet until there is no more room. So again, Jeremiah, he condemns the act of burning the children over there. Let's go to the book of Isaiah now. In Isaiah chapter 30, verse 33. So by the way, to get an idea what Hinnom is, it's a place where they would burn their kids and everything. And so this is what is found in the Old Testament. And the word is, of course, a Hebrew word. Look at Isaiah chapter 30. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 33. Isaiah 30, verse 33. Again, Tophet. You find the word over here. Tophet has long been prepared. It has been made ready for the king. Its fire pit has been made deep and wide with an abundance of fire and wood. The breath of the Lord, like a stream of burning sulfur, sets it ablaze. So there you have it. One more time. It says there's a fiery pit is being prepared for the king of Assyria to be destroyed over there. And so the idea of this fire and burning, this is carried over from the Old Testament into the New Testament. All right? And so here we come across a new word called Geenna. And Geenna is nothing but, is translated as hell in the New Testament. All right, so let's take a few words, a few scriptures to take a look at it. So let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5, of course there are several times, and Jesus is the one who uses the word most of the time in the Bible, and you don't actually find it anywhere else. But anyway, we'll come to that later. But Matthew chapter 5, look at verse 22. Matthew 5:22. It says, Jesus says, but I tell you that anyone who is angry with a brother or sister will be subject to judgment. Again, anyone who says to a brother or sister, Raka, is answerable to the court. And anyone who says, you fool, will be in danger of the fire of hell. There you have it. Hell is Geenna, which is a word in the Greek and translated as hell when we read the Bible in English. Let's look at one more verse. Luke chapter 12, verse 5. Luke chapter 12, verse 5. Jesus says, but I will show you whom you should fear. Fear him who after your body has been killed has authority to throw you into hell. Yes, I tell you, fear him. So of course, Jesus is talking about to fear God who has power to throw you, throw your soul, not just your body, but he could kill your soul and throw you into hell. So I hope we are getting an understanding over here. The word hell appears only in the New Testament. The equivalent, is Hinnon, appears in the Old Testament, but is actually it was an actual place. They saw it, people could see it. It was a valley close to Jerusalem. But the word hell, it actually does not appear in the Old Testament. Nowhere it appears. So if you're trying to let me look for the word hell in the Old Testament, it's just not there. All right, so you got that one. Now let's look at two more words I said in the beginning: Sheol and Hades. There's a lot of confusion when people hear the word Hades. Some go, Hades means hell, and it's the equivalent. And it is. What is Hades? No, Hades is not hell. It's absolutely not. It's a big misconception that people have, thinking that Hades is hell. Hades is not hell. Hell is hell. It is used by Jesus in the New Testament, and the word hell never comes in the Old Testament. Hades is a totally different word. It appears 10 times in the New Testament, and it's the exact equivalent of the Hebrew word Sheol. So Sheol is the Hebrew word, and then Hades is the Greek word, and they are absolutely equal. I mean, there is no difference. This is the dynamic equivalent, if you want to say that. It's the dynamic equivalent of in Greek. So Sheol in Hebrew, Hades in Greek. They are the same, exact same words used. And like I said, Hades is not hell. So, and what is Hades? It is it's the unseen world. Now, in part 2, I'll talk a little more about this. But now let's get into, dive into this word called Sheol. There's a lot of scriptures on the word Sheol. And the word Sheol, it comes about 60 times in the Old Testament. That's a lot of times. And it means grave. And today's main lesson is going to be just understanding this, because once we understand this, then when we go to the section of the idea of what happens when we die, I believe God has given us a lot of hint in the Old Testament. And so when we go to that part of what happens when we die, usually people go, when a person dies, they go to heaven. Short answer, no, incorrect. They do not go to heaven. In fact, no one has gone to heaven. Okay, like I said, more of this in the second part. But I want us to understand the word Sheol, grave, and getting into it will help us understand how the New Testament then talks about what happens when we die. I believe God gives us a beautiful picture in the Old Testament, which is then carried forward in the New Testament. Let's go jump into the word Sheol, which in Hebrew means grave. All right, Sheol, it's a place of the departed human spirit after the physical death. That's what Sheol is. That's where your human spirit goes. Now, let's go to the book of Psalm 55. We're going to look at a lot of passages today and get a good idea. Psalm chapter 55, verse 15. Psalm 55, verse 15. It says, "Let death take my enemies by surprise. Let them go down alive to the realm of the dead, for evil finds lodging among them." So, Psalm says over here in verse 15, 55:15, says, "Let the dead take my enemies by surprise." It says, "Let them go down alive." You see the little picture of going down there alive. All right, it happens also in with Korah and Dathan. They were taken down alive. But let's look at another verse in Proverbs chapter 5. Proverbs chapter 5, verse 5. Proverbs 5:5. It says, of course, this is against adultery, but it says, "Her feet go down to death, her steps lead straight to the grave." You see how it says, her steps lead straight to the grave. So a picture of, walking into the grave. So there's a picture of somebody being alive and then going into the grave. Look into Numbers 16. I think this is the one I was referring to before. Number 16. We'll take a look at it. Verse 33. It says, "They went down alive into the realm of the dead, with everything they owned. The earth closed over them, and they perished, and they were gone from the community." Okay, so here we have it, and where Dathan and Abiram and all the ones who rebelled against Moses, and it clearly says over here in verse 33 that they went down alive into the realm of the dead, which is nothing but Sheol. So you have an idea. All right, so the idea that you get is it's not the ultimate judgment that is taking place over there. And what is portrayed is that there is something happening before the ultimate judgment. There's kind of the people are still alive, but they're kind of not alive. You get a sort of picture. And like I said, we'll see more into it. Let's go to the book of Psalm chapter 6. Psalm chapter 6. In Psalm chapter 6, please look into verse 5. It says, "Among the dead, no one proclaims your name. Who praises you from the grave?" So when you read this passage over here, it says, "Among the dead, no one proclaims your name, and who is praising you from the grave?" So you find over here that this is a resting place of the dead. And, and all who die cannot land up over here. Look at Psalm chapter 9. Psalm chapter 9, verse 17. "The wicked go down to the realm of the dead, all the nations that forget God." Okay. Again, this verse talks about how it says, the wicked go down to the realm of the dead. So in particularly, it's a resting place of the wicked people. Looking at Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah chapter 14. In Isaiah chapter 14, let's look at verse 9. Isaiah 14, verse 9. It says, "The realm of the dead below is all astir to meet you at your coming. It rouses the spirits of the departed to greet you. all those who were leaders in the world. It makes them rise from their thrones, all those who were kings over the nations. Don't you love the Bible? It just brings things to life. It says over here, the realm of the dead below is all astir to meet you at your coming. Like I said, you die, you go there, but that seems though there is a kind of a life, and they're waiting. It says it arouses the spirit of the departed to greet you, all those who were leaders in the world. So it seems as though these guys are alive and they're kind of waiting for the new guys who are coming over there. Surely you see that they're dead, they're gone, but they're in the grave. But then there is some sort of a life or some sort of an activity happening over here. Let's go to Psalm chapter 49. Psalm 49, and we look into verse 15. Psalm 49, verse 15. The Bible says, "But God will redeem me from the realm of the dead. He will surely take me to himself." So, the Bible says here that God will redeem me from the realm of the dead. So this is the psalm of the sons of Korah, and they're talking about God redeeming them from the realm of the dead. So there's a redemption going on. There's somebody trying to rescue them, and so he says he will surely take me. He will surely take me to himself. So there seems to be as though they're gone to Sheol, death, but then there's going to be a redemption. There's going to be a rescue operation that's going to take place, even though they kind of are dead. So and God is going to preserve them from the power of the grave and from death. So you get the idea over here. Let's go to Hosea chapter 13. Hosea chapter 13. Hosea chapter 13, verse 14. God says, "I will deliver this people from the power of the grave. I will redeem them from death. Where, O death, are your plagues? Where, O grave, is your destruction?" Again, the word over here uses Sheol. And it says over here that it looks like that God is going to deliver his people from this place. So, like I said, this is a place where it seems as though, of course, people are dead and they've gone there, but then they still seem to be conscious and having a kind of a life where they see things are happening, that God is going to redeem the good guys and things of that nature. All right, let's look into Psalm chapter 16. Psalm 16, verses 9 and 10. Psalm 16, verses 9 and 10. So what I'm doing over here is, instead of just jumping into something about what happens after we die, and like I said, hope these verses are giving you a picture of how things were in the Old Testament. And like I said, once you get this picture, you will get the picture easily when Jesus talks about things in the New Testament. So Psalms chapter 16, verses 9 and 10. "Therefore my heart is glad, and my tongue rejoices, my body also will rest secure. Because you will not abandon me to the realm of the dead, nor will you let your faithful one see decay." Now, who is talking over here? King David. All right? And King David says over here, "Therefore my heart is glad, and my tongue rejoices, my body also will rest secure." It says, "Because you will not abandon me to the realm of the dead." Hold it. And it says, "Nor will you let your faithful one see decay." What? Hold on. David died. He's gone. He's buried. He's gone. All right? And yet, David over here in the Psalms, he's saying that, "God, you will not abandon me to the realm of the dead, nor will you let your faithful one see decay." So David over here saying, no, there's going to be no decay. And it's like, what? I mean, I thought his body is already decayed. David goes, no, you will not let me decay even over there. So you get in the picture of David died and gone, and yet he says that you will not let my body decay. Now, how is that possible? What's going on over there? Now, let's go to Acts chapter 13. Acts chapter 13. Acts chapter 13, and we can read 34 to 37. Acts 13, you can read from 34 to 37. It says, God raised him from the dead so that he will never be subject to decay. As God has said, I'll give you the holy and sure blessings promised to David. So it is also stated elsewhere, you will not let your Holy One see decay. Now, when David had served God's purpose in his own generation, he fell asleep. So he died. He was buried with his ancestors, and his body decayed. But the one whom God raised from the dead did not see decay. All right, so we get an idea over here. All right, so in Psalm, David is talking about, no, my body is not going to decay. And correctly, right over here, when Paul is over here talking to different people, he clearly quotes it, and he says that God raised him from the dead. That he's talking about Jesus, and then he quotes the Psalms, the Psalm of David. It says, "I will give you the Holy One and sure blessings promised David." And it says, "You will not let your Holy One see decay." So you get the idea how now in the Old Testament there seems to be a place, that a grave that people died and they went there, but there still seems to be some activity going on over there. Now, Sheol, is it hell? No, it's not. Hell is final. There is going to be no talk. There's going to be no conversation with no one, and you're not expecting people to come and God to come and redeem you first of all. So like I said, hell, the word hell is never mentioned in the Old Testament. Now, so Sheol is Hades, and it is not hell. In other words, Sheol is not hell. Hades is not hell. Now, if you don't get these words properly in their places, and if you don't have a proper understanding, then it'll be hard to understand, because when we go to the New Testament and we see what Jesus is saying, he's talking about hell and everything, we would not get a clear idea if you don't have this. Now we'll get a clear idea of what's going on when Jesus speaks about hell and Hades and things of that nature. And so next time, now that the definitions are clear, we understand what's going on, the next video is going to be about what happens after we die. Thank you so much.